so we got everything out of the box here, and we're gonna take a look at all of the contents that came with these BC Racing coilovers. So the first thing is we're gonna actually figure out what is all in here. Usually it's a bunch of like legal mumbo jumbo, but sometimes with coilovers you get a little cool insight into stuff. First things first though, we got some BC Racing decals. That's like the most important part with an order, is like a fresh set of decals, right? So we got that. We got another little pamphlet. So this actually goes over all the information from the other series of coilovers from BC Racing. So if you didn't know, the BR series is their entry level series, was what they call it. They actually have 6 different series of coilovers that get more and more aggressive as they go. So the BR is like your most affordable entry-level coilover. If you're looking, you know, for a little bit of a performance upgrade and you're looking to like lower your car, the BR series is like the best one to go for. If you want to get more into like a track coilover, or you're taking your car to the track more than you're daily driving it, you can step up into something like their DS series, which is like their digressive piston series. And then you can get into like all the external reservoir, the monotube coilovers, the inverted coilovers, all that sort of stuff. But the BR series, for the most part, is gonna get you everything that you want. We also have what looks like a little bit of an installation guide, which is pretty nice. So it goes over what type of coilover you have. So like you see here, we see the BC BR type coilover. It goes over some quick things before installation, which is nice because a lot of times you don't get like any instructions of these, and this is kind of just a broad overview. So here it'll tell you that, you know, these were developed for this for your specific car. So we did ask BC, you know, did you take a lot of the stuff from the previous generations of the Nissan Z to kind of make these coilovers, or did you start from scratch? And they basically said they started from scratch. These are a brand new coilover system for this new car. So they're not recycling any parts from, you know, the 370Z setup. They did go ahead and build a new coilover. So when you do get these coilovers, hang on to this little booklet here. This actually has a ton of really good information on how to set your preload if you want to change it, what you can expect on your installation, especially for this type of coilover, because the way that the suspension is set up in the Z and probably a lot of other cars, we actually took a look at some Fortune Autos for the S2000 that have a similar double wishbone suspension setup. So there's no camber plates up top, and it's a different way of installation than that type of suspension setup. So it goes over what you can expect with that, why this coilover doesn't come with some of that adjustability, like your camber adjustment. And then it also goes over how to adjust your ride height, which again, you don't want to adjust your preload for your ride height. You want to actually adjust the lower body for your ride height adjustment, which a lot of people surprisingly do get that wrong. They start cranking down the spring in their preload, and then they wonder why their coilover rides like crap. And then we got our tools here. So it looks like we get a new set of BC Racing branded spanner wrenches, which you're definitely going to use. And then these are actually really nice to have. These are little extenders for the damping of your rear coilover. So these will attach to the damping adjuster on the top of the coilover for your rear, and then you can run it through like your liner in the trunk or wherever you can access it, so you don't have to take the whole car apart or like cut holes and stuff to adjust your damping on the fly. You can actually just install those little extenders. So as I've mentioned a few times, these are the BR series coilovers, which earlier in the video I talked about their different lines of coilovers, but we're gonna talk about the BR series specifically a little bit more here. So even though this is the entry-level coilover for BC Racing, or they're one that they suggest you step into first if you're more like daily driving your car, this is still a great option for a coilover. You still get a ton of adjustability. Again, you get your ride height adjustment, you get your preload, you get 30 clicks of damping adjustment. So you get just as amount of adjustment and control that you do with any other coilover system within this price range. And again, the only reason you don't see the camber adjustment on the top plates of these is because of the way that the suspension is set up in the new Z. You just can't have it. And even though these are recommended for those that are daily driving their car, it doesn't mean that they lack performance at all. I have them on my BMW 328i as my daily driver, and I absolutely love them, but it does add a nice feel to the car, and I've seen people do a lot of motorsport stuff with these. These are very popular in the drifting scene, very popular in your autocross and other events and things like that because of the price point. And again, if you want to step up a little further than that, I'd suggest going into their DS series, which is their digressive piston series. Gives you a little more control of like the valving and customization and things like that. The BR series is a fantastic choice for those just looking to get a coilover system for a car that they daily drive, that they want to look good, they want to lower and get some performance out of it. One other thing with these two is that we did reach out to BC to get some information on these that isn't readily available, I would say, to just anyone. We did ask some questions, one of them involving the actual fluid and oil that they use in their coilovers. And they said that they can't really give us a ton of information about it, but what they could say is that it is developed specifically for BC racing. So they're not just using some random oil or fluid that is readily available. They do have a formula that was built for BC racing that they use in their coilovers, which I think is pretty cool. So we unboxed them, we talked about them. Now you're looking to install your coilovers, and we have a few tips for you to maybe just help you along the way of installing your new set of coilovers. First things first, you and your buddy can absolutely do this. You take a good day or maybe a weekend, depending on your setup and tools that you have access to. You always think it's gonna be a 20-30 minute install. Just plan a day or a weekend. You know, just the worst feeling is just leaving a car up on jack stands for a week. So just plan long-term for a weekend for a suspension install, especially if you're like us and in the Northwoods and you have to deal with rust and all that sort of stuff. But it can absolutely be done. It is not too daunting of a task. And I would say if you know your way around cars and you can undo some bolts and things like that, you 100% be able to install some coilovers. So the only thing, like I mentioned before, is make sure when you do adjust things, which you're going to have to adjust things, follow that little instruction guide that has some great information in there. Now, the fact that they have the preload set from the factory is awesome, but you're just gonna wanna double check your ride height and everything as well. You can install it as is, but make sure that at least across the board is even, so your two rears are even and your two fronts are even. You don't want the car sitting all cattywampus or anything like that. You can then adjust it once it's on the car if you want it higher or lower, but at least giving, you know, a good starting point to make sure that everything is even, because you never know, you might like the ride height that it is set at. Now, of course, each car will be a little bit different and have its own quirks, especially if you're coming from like a double wishbone to like a McPherson setup. You know, every car is built a little bit different and gonna throw its own little quirks at you. So if you can, and you don't have a brand new platform like a Nissan Z, go out and watch some videos on it. I'm sure you probably already have, but there's a ton of stuff out there that'll probably teach you everything you need to know about your specific platform and how to install probably these exact coilovers. So overall, the BC Racing BR Series coilovers, personally, I would recommend. I have them on my daily driver. They feel fantastic. They've been going on for a little over a year now. I've had zero issues with them, and it gives you a ton of adjustability. And I know, again, a lot of people that run these at our local drift track. I mean, they're huge in the Formula Drift scene and things like that. A lot of cars that run at BC, they're one of like their main sponsors and things like that. So they have been proven time and time again. And for the price on these bad boys, you're getting a fantastic coilover solution. So thank you guys so much. And if you have picked up a set of these coilovers and you're waiting to install them and you're watching this video, I wish you the best of luck, and make sure to add it to our build threads when you do so, when you get that car lowered on the ground. And if you are looking to buy a set of BC Racing coilovers or anything else, make sure to mod your car over at Martini Works. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.